Hola, welcome back to our channel where we study, discuss, and add knowledge so that we may know more and be more. If this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you and we ask that you stick around because you're gonna love it here. Today is going to be very interesting because we're having this discussion around a conversation that is not really being had. So, if you're between the ages of 35 and 55, this video is for you. Come right in, take a seat, and let's talk. Do you know that's the phase of life that's referred to as midlife? The time when most people, or should I say some people, begin to have some kinds of feelings that they can't quite express. Feel a bit restless, a bit unsettled, sometimes unfulfilled, and it feels like it's all in your head. That's because you are experiencing something I call midlife restlessness. But word out there, I choose to say it like that, word out there is either you're experiencing midlife blues or midlife crisis. But bottom line, at this phase in life, people tend to begin to feel a bit uneasy about a lot of things, questioning all they have known and done up until this point. Sometimes it's about what life they really want to live. Is this the life I really want? Have I really lived the life the way I want? All those kind of questions. Good news is you're not alone if that's your experience at this moment. And we're going to begin to have the conversations about these things that we feel in midlife that nobody's really talking about. Let me tell you a little about myself. In my own case, as a woman in midlife, it got to a point in my life when I just began to feel restless. I call it restless because it was just an unsettling feeling. I did not have the language to express the feeling. It felt like it was all in my head. I was questioning anything and everything. And the funny thing is, I felt like I was the only one feeling that way. Because at that point when I was feeling all of these restlessness, I didn't know what it was. It was only after I had gone through the phase and successfully gone to the other side that I realized that there was such a thing as midlife blues. Not midlife crisis in my case, because they're not exactly the same. We'll get to that later in subsequent videos. But it was a case of midlife blues. I didn't even know there was such a thing until I finished feeling all those feelings and successfully navigated my way through that phase of life. Yeah. It was so much so that I had times when I cried uncontrollably like a baby. I mean, like, cried till I slept. The epic episode I had in that phase of life was one hot, sunny afternoon. I mean, in the middle of a work day. It was a Monday afternoon. I sat in my car and had a major meltdown. Like, I cried so uncontrollably till I had no strength left in me. This was in my room where I would have maybe cried and slept. I was on my way to get groceries or something, but it was a work day and it was the middle of the afternoon. I had a major meltdown. And like I said, I didn't have words to express all those feelings that were like pent up, but they were just in me. And the only way I could vent out that particular day was cry till I had no strength left in me. There is such a thing as midlife blues. And we all feel it in different ways at different times. Just because we're different, people with different ways of expressing ourselves, we tend to express these midlife situations. I think that's a better way to address it. Situations, because there's blues, there's crisis. I choose to call it restlessness because eventually it shows up as either blues or crisis. So some people express these midlife situations in different ways. But that's when people actually get into crisis. Crisis is now like, feeling panic, feeling like time has gone. I mean, suddenly you get to this phase of your life and you're thinking, what did I do all this while? What did I do with my time? What did I achieve? What have I got in life? And then some people get into panic, which is why it's called midlife crisis. And of course, like in any panic situation, the first comfort that comes, and in some cases, you see a man, which is what the people use as examples a lot, suddenly begins to behave like the boy that he missed out on. You know what I mean? Like all these things I missed out on, all this fast life. That's what fun and fast life I missed out on. And they just want to catch up. So sometimes they tend to do stuff that at that age would look out of place, but for them is what they feel like doing at that time because they are feeling like they've missed out on so much and have arrived at this point in their lives. Some people feel frustrated. Some feel sad. Some feel even resentful towards themselves. Some feel angry. All kinds of feelings. And sometimes a mix of all these feelings. For me, it was a mix of feelings because I recall feeling anxious at some point, feeling a bit fearful, a bit melancholic, and basically feeling left behind in some cases, like I was late, like I was delayed. And then I felt calm. I think that was like the peak of it when I started feeling calm because I decided to have days that I termed days of solitude, where I would just sit by myself and just try to process what was happening to me. I reckon that, hey, come on, this is about me and no need to go and start talking about it with somebody that may not have any solutions for me. So I sat and instead I let my mind and body yield to my spirit. At least one person that would get me was my maker. So I just yielded to my spirit and tried to understand what was happening at that point in time in my life. And yeah, those days of solitude really just give me some clarity, some head start, and help me navigate that phase better. And so because I came out successfully from that phase, I was now able to identify it when I saw it in someone else. And believe me, really, I saw quite a lot of it when I had communications and conversations with people in my sphere of contact. I could understand that this person might be experiencing some form of midlife blues without even knowing it. They couldn't really articulate what they were experiencing. You just hear people hissing and sighing and just feeling deflated. Sometimes it's a case of, do I want to do this or that? Should I do this or that? What exactly am I really doing? I remember one day I was listening to a lady who I listen to sometimes on YouTube, I think, and she was talking to her audience about how she was just thinking about what to do in her life. I think she's like 45 or so. That at this point she's thinking, should she do this? She should do that. Should she go back to study this? She should start this business. She was just talking, basically ranting to them and sharing the options that she was considering with her audience. And I found myself feeling empathetic towards her because I could understand what was going on with her. I sent a comment and said, I understand exactly what you're going through. And I even offered her a copy of my book, which is a book that I wrote after I had successfully navigated midlife and realized that that was what was going on with me. So I wrote that book from my experience in midlife. So I offered a copy of my book because, like I said, I felt empathetic. That's been my journey. When I see somebody going through midlife, I understand because I have been there as well. So I'm able to offer my own 2 cents in some cases or just listen and feel the compassion or the empathy. But here's what I would say to you if that is your case at this point. This is what I did, and it could help you if you choose to apply it as well. First, acknowledge the feeling for what it is. Yes. You may not have the words or the language to express it, but acknowledge it first. Acknowledge that you're feeling a certain way, a type of way. Don't try to shove it off and just go about your life and continue to do business as usual, because that's the thing that most people do. But acknowledging it will help you able to eventually name it for what it is. And that in itself is progress, because then you can apply yourself and apply some energy towards addressing it because you have been able to name it. For me, I was able to name that restlessness dissatisfaction. And this dissatisfaction was due to my dreams and aspirations that I had just shelved. I shelved some, I buried others, and was just moving on with my life and doing what everybody else was doing, just ticking off the milestones, education, work, marriage, kids, and on and on. But it got to this point where all those dreams and aspirations started coming to the surface and presented itself as dissatisfaction. So my restlessness was due to dissatisfaction, due to dreams and aspirations that were not attended to. Number 2, slow down a little bit. If you can slow down completely at this point, do so. If you can't slow down physically, slow down mentally. Just look for a way to take it easy. What it will do for you is that it will give you the mental space to actually find a way to process this feeling. You need that space mentally, because slowing down enables you to sit with yourself. I mean, like, really sit and find the room that you need from your busy life, from your active everyday movement and everything that just clouds you. For me, slowing down helped me have those days of solitude that I talked about. And that was like priceless to me. I had the mental clarity. I had the space. I found the strength and the courage to finally realize that I wanted my life to be a certain way. And I was beaten about the bush. So basically, I found the courage to stop pretending about what I really want in life. And that's because I took time to process it. I slowed down, found the mental space to process what all this restlessness was about, and decided what life I really wanted to live thereafter. Then number 3, notice what you're noticing. Identify the feelings. Identify those feelings. Notice what you're noticing is something that Mary Morrissey says, and I just love it. Just notice what is going on in your head. Notice what the feelings that you're having are. Notice how those feelings are making you behave in that point in time. Is it fear? Is it anxiety? Is it resentment? Is it a mix of everything? Like I already told you, for me, I noticed that it was restlessness due to dissatisfaction, due to broken dreams, if you may. We really should have these conversations more often. In all honesty, we should have these conversations about midlife restlessness, whether it be blues or crisis. We should have these conversations more often. And that's what I want us to do on this channel. Let's not end it like that today. If you identify any of these things in your life right now that I talked about, and you happen to be in midlife, please share your experience with us in the comment section and tell us how you're navigating it. If you've already navigated it, what you did, just like I shared mine. Because truth be told, unlike every other phase of life, you don't have enough of these midlife conversations. In rounding up, I'll just say this. It's just like getting to the middle of the road and realizing that the journey ahead of you is still so far, but the map that you use to get to the middle of the road doesn't offer more landmarks and milestones to get you ahead. Remember, you started a journey with a map. On that map, there were landmarks, there were milestones, and you were ticking off as you were going. What were these landmarks and milestones? What you were told by your family, by society, by religion, by all these organized institutions. So, you were born. You were told to go to school, you went to school. You were told to get a job, you got a job. You were told to get married, you got married. You were told to start a family, started a family. And then you ticked off all these boxes. But suddenly, you're wondering, so what more? What next? I've done all of these things and I'm here now. What next? That map we were given left you right in the middle of the road. So you're not only confronted with the task of figuring out how to go the rest of the way, which is still ahead of you. You also have to choose a path that best aligns with this middle half of your life, and the inconveniences of all the uncertainties that you face, all the fogginess, because this road is unfamiliar, you've not gone on this path before. So many things. So these conversations should be had. And I want us to have these conversations on this channel and even beyond. Share your experience with us in the comment section. Or remember to return again, same time next time, because we're continuing this conversation. This is not the first of it. It won't be the last. Until I see you same time next time, share this video with somebody who you know will appreciate what we spoke about today. And like it, subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Adios.